Hi folks, so in this video I will show you how to add variable data to a two-sided job, then impose that job onto an SRA3 sheet ready for print. First we will look at the front of this PDF, which is a single document. As we can see, it's 6.22 megabytes in size. This is quite large for an A5. We also notice it was created by an Adobe application. You can see the PDF producer information above, and it contains one page. Next we will switch to the other side. This is a single document. And here we note that this other single sheet is 4.06 megabytes. With a two-sided variable data job, the challenge is to align fronts and backs, especially when we are printing multiple up. So to print using duplex mode makes a lot of sense. So we are using the PDF Toolbox to combine these two single documents into a new document. While this process of joining the two documents will not reduce the file size, it is the first part of a process to do exactly that. After the document opens, we can now double check the file size, and we will notice there will be no significant difference as if we added the 6 megabyte and the 4 megabyte documents together. And as you can see here, the new size is 10.22 megabytes. Also note the producer is Adobe PDF Library. Now that we have this document containing front and back created, we will close the toolbox and we will open this in PPD Prepress main window. And what we are going to do here, when it opens, is to impose this file back onto a new file of exactly the same dimensions. But in doing this to PPD Prepress, we are in fact recreating the file. So we are going to enter dimensions exactly as shown in the top right corner in the file dimensions. In fact, even if it was a little less, that would be okay. But we'll just keep it the same so that you can understand exactly what's happening here. The values in the middle are going to reduce the white space around the original file. However, this is not significant here. And now we will open this and look at the file dimensions. And here you will notice the file size has been reduced. In fact, in this instance, it has been significantly reduced to approximately 1/5 its original size. Notice also the PDF producer information has changed to PPD Prepress. This is because this is a new PDF after being recreated using layers from the original. So now that we have optimized the original PDF, we will move on to the variable data process. We will open this new PDF in the main window and click the var data or variable data button. This will open the variable data module within PPD Prepress. And here we can see the PDF has been passed through to this module. Now we will import the variable data file. In this case it's a CSV file. Note when the file appears, the columns were not sorted properly. Sometimes the separator will be automatically detected. In other cases like this, we have to manually choose it. As there are some blank gaps in the address, we can use the try replace blank fields checkbox to collapse the address fields to the left. In some variable data jobs this might not make sense, but in this one it works very well. In this case we are adding the greeting, first name and last name as a single field. As this needs to be used several times, we will duplicate it a number of times. Column 2 here was the number, as you can see, and we need to use that several times also. So we can add this several times. We can either use the add column button to add it, or we can choose right click and duplicate it a number of times. It's the same result. We don't need to use all of these fields, but if we're short we have to recreate them, and this will mean we have to place them again from scratch. Here in this final section we're adding the address in one go. As each address line is used separately, each one is added as a separate field. finally, to generate concrete fields that we can draw onto the PDF file, we click the Generate Fields button on the bottom right of this window. The application will automatically switch to the layout view. Here we are clicking to place all fields, to place all of the fields automatically onto this side of our two-page PDF. We can zoom in a little bit for a closer view. Here we can choose whatever fonts we require, but for larger variable data jobs, if the font is not that important, I would strongly suggest using either the Helvetica or Times New Roman or even Courier fonts, as these are part of the standard 14 fonts that, according to Adobe's own guidelines, all developers must have these fonts available. And if you use any of those fonts, the chances are your file size will be smaller than using other fonts. Obviously, if you need to use other fonts, you will need to use those fonts. But if you have a choice, stick to either Times New Roman or Courier or Helvetica in any style. And as you can see, it's a matter of then moving and placing each of the fields into their desired location. And here we are locking the field. You will see the advantage of this in a moment. This field isn't locked for manual positioning, but it is locked for automatic positioning. And you will see the advantage of this shortly. Again, I want to make sure these fields are locked so that when we move the address, that these fields remain in position. Regarding colours, you can choose from the colour palette here, or you can use the Add Colour button underneath the palette to create your own custom CMYK colour. Here we are removing fields that we don't need. We added the number field too many times. You don't need to use all of the fields placed. Now, to adjust these, we can choose the Adjust button, as you can see below, or we can right click and a drop down menu will appear where we can choose the Adjust option. Again, I would lock this field so it doesn't move the rest of the address. As you can see, when I click the Adjust button from the pop-up menu, only the fields that weren't locked have moved and aligned with the first one. So as you can see, fields 1 to 4 are name and address. Here you can see a list of all placed fields. Note field 2 has not been placed. When we redraw a field, it will appear in the new position. That's why it is important to double check that field 2 wasn't drawn on the front. We can now format this with our desired font, colour and position, size, etc. To force text to fit horizontal space is very important for some jobs. In this case, if the string of text, in this case the name, is too long to fit into the field, the font size will be reduced progressively until it does fit, and then the application will continue to the next record. You can generate a sample at any time to double check font size and placement, and then fine tune your variable data job. The name here looks a little too small, so we might change the font to something more compact that will better fill the space. I note also that the fields here could be aligned somewhat better. I will now close this PDF and fine-tune the field placement. The PDF output set options in the bottom right hand corner of this window are very important, especially when processing larger jobs. Critical to the process is the amount of RAM available. The amount of RAM in your computer may be significant, but if other applications have it consumed, you still have a problem with RAM. So I would strongly suggest for larger jobs that you would process it in sets and then print it in sets. This should ensure that both the RIP on your printer and PPD Prepress will both perform better, and everything should happen much faster overall. If the file sizes are small, you can still process very large jobs. We'll now process this job and leave it running in real time. I won't speed up or slow down the video for this part. And as you can see, the various processes are happening quite quickly. The importance of RAM here is that we can, if we can use RAM to create the document, we can produce a smaller file size. If we have to save sections to disk and recombine them, the resulting PDF is likely to be larger. Here you can see we have 1000 pages in this new PDF. That's because we processed it in lots of 500, and there are 2 pages in each file. That gives us our 1000 PDF pages in this new document. And as you can see, names are a reasonable size. Any names that are too long to fit at the font size we've chosen will be reduced to fit the space. Some of these here could be further improved. You can see the bottom name here on this ticket is probably a little large, so I should have made the field a little smaller. Notice there are 1000 sets here, and let's look at the file size. And as you can see, 9.34 megabytes is in fact smaller than the original combined document when we added front and back sheets that were over 6 megabytes and 4 megabytes respectively. So this is a very small file size for a PDF document with this number of pages. Note also that the original PDF is never changed. We always create a new PDF and leave the original intact. The final step is to open each of the 3 parts in our variable data job in the PPD Prepress main window and impose those 4 up onto an SRA3 output sheet. It is important to select the Proof Radio button and then click the SO button for stacking options. I then tick the Enable Stacking checkbox and choose the 2-sided option from the list of available options. Then click the Save button as shown. Before clicking the Impose Artwork button, it's important to choose the correct size output sheet. While the job is processing, I should highlight the importance of selecting the proof options as shown here. Otherwise the front and back of the cards will not align correctly when printed. And you can see the file size has been further reduced to 7.32 megabytes for the same 1000 PDF pages that we had originally. So during each part of the process, we continue to reduce the file size as much as is possible. And as you can see, where there is space for the larger font, it will appear. So notice we have the corresponding size of the card on the left and right side of each consecutive page. So hopefully all that makes sense. Of course, in this case, we merged the complete master and variables file together. We have another option to export the variables file only. We will look at that in another video.